The bondage is real because it was created by Bhagavan, who happened to be Satya Sankalpa, whose Sankalpas are real, realistic. Bhagavan entertains Sankalpas which are realistic. He can't entertain unrealistic, whimsical, fanciful Sankalpas. His Sankalpas are realistic. This is what who says? A Purvapakshi says. Purvapakshi says, Yattu Satya Sankalpena. We discussed what is Satya Sankalpa elaborately in the last class. Satya Sankalpa only means that what he thinks, it becomes real, that's all. But it doesn't mean what he created has got to be real. See, this is a very strange thing. The reality of bondage. Bondage, suppose I'll give you one or two examples. During Corona, we were not allowed to go out of the house. They asked us to stay inside the house. I tell you, for a person like me, it didn't make any difference. People whose houses are very small, or who love to go out and cannot stay at home, they feel it is a big bondage. But for person who stays at home, who cannot travel, who doesn't want to travel, staying in one place is a joy for him. For us, this in a big ashram here, we just travel within the house here. We travel within the ashram here. We move here alone within the ashram. We never felt that staying here in the room is a bondage. Okay. So, bondage and liberation is a way of how you feel it. It is in a notion, it is in your feeling. The thing itself is now not a binding or a liberation. One example I am giving, I don't mean that bondage is exactly like this. A bondage, I may create something. What I create may be real, but if the person doesn't feel it is a bondage, then it is no more a bondage. So you can't say, since God created, therefore it is a bondage. It's a very strange thing. House arrest, they say. But for a certain person, house arrest is not at all an arrest at all. It's just a stay. When you love to stay in the place, it's not a bondage, isn't it? So bondage is how you feel about it. It is in your feeling, not in the thing itself. Thing itself is not a bondage. Now you see how the Purvapakshi is arguing. Since God's sankalpas are realistic, what he created is a real one, therefore bondage is real. See, there is no logic, there is no relationship with it. There is no logic in it. What he created may be real. Even that is a different issue that we question in the next argument. But what he created may be real. But that need not become bondage to me. If I feel it is a bondage, I feel it. If I don't feel, I can't do anything. So it is not a bondage. So bondage is in my feeling, not what somebody can give me. Okay. This is one reason. Second is sankalpa may be real. What he imagines, what he proposes, may become real, may be materialized. But that doesn't prove what he created to be real. This is the second argument I am giving you. Like, for example, a magician. A magician wants to project something. He wants to create a paper as a rupee note. Okay? He uses his magic. That means he is creating a sankalpa that let this paper appear like a 500 rupee note to you, and it starts appearing. Just because his sankalpa has become real, do you mean this paper has become really 500 rupee note? He has created. A magician creates many things, but all of them are unreal. What magician has created is unreal. So just because he made a realistic sankalpa, not a fanciful one, but the thing that is produced is an unreal. Okay? In this magician's example, oh sorry, I don't know whether you are able to hear, it has fallen down. Now you can hear. The magician wishes to create something. Like he changed the paper into airplane. I give this example because I have seen. I tell you, I have seen even the snake. The person, what you say, plucked the leaves, margosa leaves of a twig. He brought a twig like this. He just plucked a few leaves and dropped it there. Right in front of me, there is a snake like this. Cobra opening its hood. And I was shocked. I was surprised to see. There is a huge cobra. It is real. Color, everything I am seeing. It stayed there for a while. And afterwards, he took the snake and put inside the bag. I was looking, I was a small boy, that the snake would come out. It didn't come out for a long time. Then I understood there was no snake. As he took it from his hand. With his hand, he took it and then put it in his bag like this. He didn't even zip it or tie it or anything. In those days, there was no zip. He didn't tie it or anything. He put it behind the cloth and that's all. No snake, nothing. See, even a magician, these two things, rupee notes he has created. He took the piece of paper and he made it into rupee note, and we found 1 rupee note in those days. Oh. And he took a mud, takes the mud right in front of you. Not like this vibhuti. Vibhuti can be done because you already apply to your hand and then dry it up and later you press it like that and vibhuti comes. That is not magic. That they did a trick. See, the English word is different from English word magic doesn't convey our indrajala. Our indrajala, our shakti, yogic shakti. He touches mud and creates a scent. Scent means a perfume. Oh, he applied the perfume to many, many people and were surprised. If keep on applying, if the hand becomes dry, you can see him, the hand became dry. Again he touched the earth right in front of you. Touched the earth and rubbed it, again started leaking. Perfume. Rupee note I have seen. Perfume creating I have seen. And also snake. He just plucked the leaves and then just threw it there and there was a cobra. So, these things, his sankalpa that I want to create a snake and snake appeared. Then do you think snake is real? Even if you make a sankalpa and produce something, it need not be real. It can be magic. It can be false. It need not be real. See, dream. Is dream real or not? Tell me. Dream while experiencing appeared real. But once you wake up, it is not real. Now tell me, is dream real or unreal? Is dream real or unreal? While experiencing, it looked like real. Swakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. There is one shloka, good shloka in Atma Bodha. Samsara swapnatulyohi ragadveshadi sankulaha. Samsara swapnatulyohi ragadveshadi sankulaha. Swakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. Samsaraha swapnatulyohi. Swakale satyavadbhati. It appears real while experiencing. Prabodhe sati. As you wake up, it is unreal. Therefore, this real unreal is God is a Satya Sankalpa. Therefore, what he created must be real. See, anything that is created out of Sankalpa only. Anything you create is only out of Sankalpa. A false illusory appearances are also Sankalpas. With Sankalpa also you can create illusory appearances. Okay. See, children play. You do something like this, like fingers and etc. And then a shade falls. A shadow falls like a false appearances. It appears various things. Now you make a sankalpa and do it, but it is a false. So just because your sankalpa is materialized, it is not a fanciful, but it is a real wish. It doesn't prove that what you have created must be real. So that we have elaborately discussed in the last class. We'll leave it. Now here Purapakshi told, Yattu Satya Sankalpena Parameshwarena Nirmitatvat Satyaha Eva Samsara Bandhaha. For this our Swamiji's reply is Tadasat. This is the Dvaitin's argument. Okay. Bandhasya Svena Rupena Satyatve Moksha Pratyasha Abhava Prasangat. This can be answered from different levels. At one level, Swamiji's argument is, if bandha is real, if bondage is real, nobody can remove it. See, if bandha is real, you can't remove it. Tentatively, you can suspend, but you can't remove it. Okay? If bondage is real, bandhasya moksha pratyasha bhava prasangat. There is no hope of moksha pratyasha. Pratyasha is asha. That is a Sanskrit expression. Pratyasha abhavaha. There is no hope of liberation, because what is real, nobody can destroy. What is really there, nobody can destroy. What is non-existent, nobody can create. See, what is non-existent, nobody can create. What is real, nobody can destroy. Prakrute ranyatha bhavaha nakathanyat bhavishyati. What is really there can never be destroyed. This is what Vedanta says. And modern science too says that what is real can never be destroyed. A matter can neither be destroyed nor can be created. Isn't it? It can only be changed from one form to another form, one condition to another condition. But it can never be totally destroyed. Okay? Nothing can be destroyed for that matter. Therefore, if bondage is real, you cannot destroy it. You can only suspend it. Okay? You can only modify it into another form, but it can't be destroyed. You can only modify. Therefore, Satya Samsara Srashtu Parameshware Vaishamya Nirgunyadi Dosha Prasangacha. If God's creation is real, next point, then why He created somebody unhealthy, somebody rich, somebody poor, somebody tall, somebody short. So you have to say, if God's creation is real, Satya Samsara Srashtuhu, If God creates samsara is real, samsara means birth and death, that I am subject to death and subject to birth. If it is real, then Vaishamya Nirgrunyadi Dosha Prasangacha. Then God would be attributed to, accused of Vaishamya. Vaishamya means partial to some, favoring some and unfavorable to others. Because but why God created this variety? He should create the same thing to all. Why has it created many things to many people? Vaishamya, Nairgruhnya. Nairgruhnya means cruel, insensitive. It shows that God is, if God created the bondage real, one more thing is, why did He create bondage to some people, to all people? Doesn't it show His cruel nature, insensitive nature? Wouldn't God become a cruel person if He creates bondage? Why should He create bondage at all? Isn't it cruel that He creates bondage to people which people don't like? Why should He create? He's a sadistic fellow. He's a sadist. Because He creates suffering to people and then enjoys. Should He not feel that why should Jivas suffer? Why should I make them to suffer? If we say that, according to Vedantans, God doesn't create. It is you feel it, you interpret it. It's a wrong notion. If the thing itself is one, some people take it as a bondage, some people take it as a freedom. Some people take it as a good, some people take it as bad. So it depends upon how you take it. How you take it depends upon your mind. So you can say your mind is defective. Therefore, you can correct your mind. Not that God did not create bondage for you. You feel that it is binding to you. You don't like it, therefore you feel unwanted and undesirable, therefore you suffer. You suffer because you feel that it is, you don't like it. You don't like it. You hate it or you like it. Since you hate it, you feel uncomfortable with it. You suffer from it. You feel sorrow because you don't like it. So you can't say God has created a bondage for you, but bondage itself is your subjective thing. It is your subjective feeling that I am bound, I am not bound is a subjective feeling. It's not God's creation. It is not an objective reality. It is your subjective feeling. Is money bondage or not? Is family members bondage or liberation? A person who loves family members, who loves to have a family of his own relatives, without whom he feels lonely, for him having a family is a great joy. But other person who is not interested, family is a bondage for him, isn't it? So it all depends upon how you feel. But why should God create forcibly everybody the sufferings? If God Himself creates it, because He is Satya Sankalpa, that what He wishes it must happen, it is a realistic Sankalpa, is too cruel, is very, very cruel. So Nairgruhnya means Nirgrunatvam is cruelty. Vaishamyam is partiality. Okay? He creates bondage to somebody and then liberation to another. Then isn't it partiality on the part of Bhagavan and also insensitivity and cruelty? Therefore, God doesn't create simple neutral things. You can say God creates neutral things. It is you feel bound or unbound with it. God makes a presentation of a thing. God simply makes a presentation that you take it to be real according to real Vedanta. Vedantin's expression. That's the Purva Pakshi said like that. But Vedantin says, you feel it is real. So giving reality is your mind, job of your mind. You take it to be real and you suffer. You hate it, therefore you suffer. You take it to be real and therefore you suffer. So it is taking it to be real. The rope appearing as a snake. Is it due to your mistake or somebody really created a snake there? Has somebody really created the snake or it is only your own mistake? Okay. Therefore, Vaishamya Nirgrunyadi Dosha Prasangacha. Therefore, you can't say the real bondage is real, real also can go away. So if it were real, one reason is what is real can never go away. Second, one who creates the real bondage is a sadist, a partial and sadist, whimsical and sadist. Next, Pratyagatma Rupena tu Sarvasyapi Sattvatvam Abhyupeyate Eva Asmabhiriti Nakopi Doshosmin Pakshe. But we say the entire universe is real as Brahman. See, the snake as a snake is false, but the appearance of snake, it is appearing, the appearance of the snake has its reality as rope. What is real about the snake is rope. That it is rope is the reality. In the example, in the illustration I am talking, the reality of the snake is that it is rope. Appearing as a snake is falsity. Being as a rope is a reality. Similarly, all the world is real as Atma, as Brahman, but false when it appears as something other than Brahman, other than Atma. If it appears as something other than Atma, so therefore something other than Atma alone is unreal, but as Atma it is real. Snake is real as rope. Okay. But it is false when it appears as snake. Therefore, Pratyagatma Rupena tu Sarvasyapi Satyatvam Abhyupeyate iti eva asmabhirapi iti nakopi dosho asmin paksha. Therefore, when we say Jagat is mithya, you can't accuse us of any fault or any defect. Satyam janrutanja satyam abhavatiti satya sankalpasyaiva parameshwarasya satyanrutobhaya rupena vivarta shravanat bandhasyanrutatvepi satya sankalpasya vyahate. Swamiji is giving one more beautiful argument. Another argument is whatever God creates must be real. It is real because God's sankalpa is realistic sankalpa. This also I have given you example of a magician. Your sankalpa may be real, but what you create need not be real. This I have already given you one instance, one example. You may have, a magician may have a realistic sankalpa and wants to create a snake for you, and he created. He made an appearance of a snake, but that doesn't prove that the snake is real. Similarly, God, when He creates the world, He creates two types of objects in the world. The Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Satyantandrachancha satyam abhavat, that Paramartha Satyam, Paramatma, creates the world consisting of some false thing and some real things. Like mirage is false, sky appearing blue is false, snakes are false. When you mistake the rope for snake is false. Like this, there are several false things. The aeroplane, when it flies in the air, it looks very small, small of this shape alone, small of a bird shape. But actually it is not, its size is not of bird. Its size is not equal to bird, but it looks small of this shape alone. So like this, Bhagavan has created many false things and many real things in the world. So Bhagavan, with his Satya Sankalpa, what he created the world can be both, can be real and unreal. How do you say? Upanishad itself says, if you say what God created can only be real because he is Satya Sankalpa. See, this Satya Sankalpa argument is a foolish argument. Satya Sankalpa doesn't prove that what he has created must be real. Satya Sankalpa is his wish is materialized, that's all. But what is materialized may be a false appearance, may be real. That has nothing to do with Satya Sankalpa. Because Upanishad itself says that when he created the world, he created the certain real objects and certain false objects. World consists of real and unreal things. So some are unreal, some are real. God created both unreal, real things in the world. Okay. False appearances he has created. Misunderstandings are also part of the world. Okay. Therefore, Parameshwarasya Satyanrita, when Upanishad itself says, those who say that God is Satya Sankalpa, what he creates true, they are going against Upanishad. See, the very Upanishad says that he creates both. How can you say that all that he creates must be only real only? Next point is Satya Bandhasya Anrutatvepi Satya Sankalpatvasya Vyahate. See, the next point is, even if the bandha is unreal, because God himself says that I am creating both real and unreal things in the world. So, if bandha is unreal, like magicians, as I told you that the magicians creations. Magician makes certain appearances. Indrajala. So the magician's projections have to be real. Because he makes a sankalpa. Let me make an appearance of a rupee note to you. You start seeing the rupee note. Then does it say that the rupee note is real? Therefore, his Satya Sankalpa is not affected. Bandhasya Anrutatvepi, even if the bondage is unreal, false, God's Satya Sankalpa is not going to be affected. That means Satya Sankalpa has nothing to do with what is created to be real or unreal. Okay. This paragraph is over. That's the next paragraph. Since God is Satya Sankalpa, see, these are the arguments Purva Pakshi gave. Now the same Purva Pakshi continues with another argument. What is that? Etena yada shankitam satyasyapi nigadabandhadehe pavu prasadan nivritti darshanat. Earlier he has argued, even if it is a real nigadabandha, earlier we have told, even if satyasyapi nigadabandhadehe etena, His argument was, Swamiji cites his argument and replies. Another argument is, this is in Nyaya Sudha of Madhva Sampradaya tradition. There is a Nyaya Sudha Grantha. In that, this argument is found. Okay. So, yadashankitam satyasyapi nigada bandhadehe prabhu prasadad nivritti darshanat. Even when the bondage is real, by the compassion, by the grace of God, it can go away. He gives an example like nigada bandha. Nigada bandha means chaining a person. Fetters. You tie a person's hands with a, what is it? Chains. I don't know, they call something. Iron fetters. You put iron fetters on his hand, and when he is kind and compassionate, he will remove you. So even if the bondage is real, by God's grace, the real bondage also goes away. This is what Purapakshi's argument. Prasadanyavritti darshanat bandha vidvamsa lakshanayah mukter bandha vidya mityatvam napekshate. Therefore, to be able to liberate a person from a bondage, the bondage need not necessarily be real. The bondage need not necessarily be real. See how he says. To this, Swamiji replies, Tadapi pratyuktam bhavati. Even that we can answer easily. How? Vidya matra nivartasya adhyastatva vashyam bhavat. Upanishad says that by jnanam alone the bandhanam goes away, bondage goes away. Upanishads say, by knowledge, tarati shokam atmavit, by knowing the Atman you become liberated. So what can go away by knowledge? What can go away by knowledge? What can go away by knowledge? Can only be false. Because what can knowledge do? Knowledge doesn't remove the reality. Knowledge can only point out what you already are. So if you are already free, that means you only thought of bondage, you didn't have a bondage. You only falsely thought. That knowledge shows that no, it is a false, it never existed. So Upanishads say bondage goes away by knowledge. But what can go by knowledge can only be false, it can't be real. Therefore, that Purapakshi's argument falls flat. Prabhu prasadad mukta bandhasyapi aparada mantarena punarapi mano nivaraka sambhavat bandhe nivaraka bhavat Prabhu prasadopi avidya adhyasa nirasa dvaraiva bandham vidvamsayitumishte nanyatete shlishyate. See, if you say that by God's blessing the bondage goes away, if it is real, okay, when God becomes kind-hearted, He removes it. Yes, if you are put in a room, prisoned, if you are imprisoned, when the God or a court or the government becomes kind-hearted, He will release you. But again, when they get angry, He can again put you. See, out of kindness He can liberate you, but out of anger He can again put you. So what is the point? So if the real bondage is removed by God's wish, but He can wish the wrong also. Prasadat mukta bandhasyapi aparadhantarena. Due to some other mistake, again He will put you under bondage. Therefore, bandhe nivaraka. So nobody can stop that. If the bondage is real, because God created it, then why He created? You have to say two reasons. One, either due to His own fancy, His own whims and fancy. Why God created? Tell me. Real bondage. Why real bondage He created? If He created on His own, He becomes cruel man. Why should He create bondage? Why should He make the people to suffer? If He creates real bondage on His own, then He becomes cruel. Okay. If He creates on certain condition, what is the condition? You commit a crime, then I'll put you in jail. Okay. You commit a crime, therefore God punished you. If it is a real punishment, a real bondage He gave you because you committed a crime. Now, does God consider your crime, or without consideration He gives you? If He considers it as a crime, then again He will give you, when you commit a mistake, when you commit a crime, again He will imprison you. Then if you say unconditionally, doesn't look at whether you have committed a crime or not, without any crime, even if you are innocent people, if He punishes, if He creates bondage for all people, even to the innocent people, purely on His own wish, then God becomes very cruel fellow. On His own wish, why should He create bondage to people without any crime of people? This reflects on God's nature, cruel nature. Then if you say, no, He is not cruel, He gives you only if you committed the crime, then the problem is, now He liberates it, and tomorrow He may put me again into bondage, if it is a real bondage. Okay. Prabhu prasadopi avidyadhyasta nirasadvaraiva bandha vidvamsayitumishte. Therefore, the reality is, even God's blessing also helps us to gain knowledge. Only by giving knowledge, God liberates us. God liberates us. When it is a false bondage, God liberates us only by knowledge. Because He says clearly, by giving knowledge, I am liberating you. See, Uktancha Bhagavata dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Bhagavad Gita. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. I give him buddhi yoga, jnana yoga, vichara. Then as a result of jnana, he will get liberated. Another shloka, teshameva anukamparthamaham. Out of compassion, God says, out of my grace, I am removing his ignorance with the help of knowledge. By giving knowledge to him, I remove his ignorance. That way I liberate him. Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, God's grace also removes bondage only by removing the ignorance. By removing ignorance alone, he removes the bondage, but not directly, not in any other way. So ultimately, what comes to mean is, it is the knowledge alone liberates, and bondage is only a false thinking. Yat punarashankitam jnanena adhyasta bandha vinashe sati muktirna kimapi anyadapekshate iti jnana samakal eva shariradini vritti syaditi tattucham. Next point. If by jnanam, next objection is like this. If knowledge alone liberates a person, then as soon as you gain jnanam, immediately your body should disappear and you should become liberated. You should immediately die if it is liberated, if you are liberated. Because body is a bondage. If God gives you, if God gives you liberation by knowledge, then as soon as you gain knowledge of Brahman, instantly body should fall. This is what Purvapakshi objected. Purvapakshi objected to liberation by knowledge. He says by liberation alone gives knowledge, then by knowing Brahman you should immediately die. This is the Purvapakshi's interpretation of liberation by knowledge. He is underestimating, he is underrating, he is maligning liberation by knowledge. He wants to degrade, misinterpret the liberation by knowledge. If there is a liberation by knowledge, if there is a liberation by jnanam, as soon as you gain jnanam, your body also should die. This is what Purvapakshi says. To this Siddhanti replies, Tattucham nahi anadhyastam shariram anyadva kinchidapi abhyupagamyate asmabhiryena tan nivritti bibhishika syad. See, bandhanam, as we told, the bondage is only a misconception. So in the misconception, there is neither real body nor real bondage. Because what goes by knowledge alone is only a wrong thinking. What can be removed by knowledge can only be wrong thinking. It is not a real entity. Therefore, we didn't say that body really comes and gets attached to you, and on knowledge body really goes away. Body neither really there nor really goes away. You think that you are embodied. Oneself thinking as embodied, that I am embodied, that I am sashariram. Sasharirasya mithya jnana nimittatvat. Bhashyakara says, the sashariratvam, sadehatvam, that I am an embodied being. That sadehatvam is only a notion. Otherwise, nobody has body. That I have a body is a notion only. As soon like you think that you when you were in dream, you thought that you have a body, you are an individual. It was only a thought. Once you wake up, neither you are an individual nor you had a body. Isn't it? It was only a thought. It was only a notion. Therefore, we don't accept body as something real. That I am a body is only a notion. Therefore, jnanam alone can remove it. So, anadhyastam shariram anyatva kinchid abhyupagamyate asmabhihi. Asmabhihi na abhyupagamyate yena tan nivritti bibhishika syad. Therefore, you can't, we don't say that there is a really body coming and sticking to you. Therefore, by knowing Atman, body will really fall. There is no question of body really coming and sticking to you and really dying. Body itself doesn't exist for you. In your Atma is always free from body. It doesn't have a body. If you feel that I am bound, I become individual. I am an individual. The individuality is only a notion. Nobody is really an individual. That means nobody is really a jiva. The very jivatvam is only a notion. Okay. So for this Vakshati cha Swayameva Bhagavan, Shankaracharya himself, Acharya himself going to say in the 4th sutra, in the Brahma Sutra, we are discussing in the 4th sutra, Sasharirattvasya mithya jnana nimittatvat, the embodiment is due to a notion alone. That I am embodied, that I have a body is only a purely notion. Because in deep sleep, when you have no thought of the body, you have no body. Body is only purely in your notion. Iti tasmat sarvatapi sangatame vedam adhyasa varnanam ityaram pallavitena. Therefore, bandhanam is only due to misunderstanding, a wrong notion. Only by jnanam it goes away. Jnanam corrects the wrong notion. You come to discover that you are already liberated. Liberation is an existing fact. It is your nature. That you are not an individual, you are pure consciousness, you are Satchidanandam. Brahma is the very nature of me. that I taking myself to be an individual and is associated with the body is a false notion. This notion is corrected. Corrected means what? You shift your vision. You shift your way of looking, the angle of looking. Vedantic teaching shifts your vision, your angle of looking. Your way of looking at yourself changes. You discover that you are free from the body, you never had a body. Therefore, there is no question of body really coming and sticking to you and really dying it. It doesn't make any difference. Whether externally body is there or not, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, as somebody told, 4 walls, in English it is expression like this. 4 walls do not make prison. In English, there is such an expression. 4 walls do not make a prison. That means walls themselves don't make a prison. It is your feeling. Simple example which is commonly anybody can understand, I give you is, in the same jail, 2 kinds of people are there. The police are the in charge, the jail staff is also there, and the people who are undergoing punishment are also there. Who feels that it is a bondage? For whom is that jail? Those who feel that I am imprisoned, I am punished, for him alone, that is a bondage. But the staff, the police and other staff working there, they don't feel it is a bondage. They are living in the same room, in the same place, in the same building, but they don't feel it is a bondage. So bondage is in your feeling. Therefore, body is not a bondage. It is your feeling that I am the body is a bondage. Once you understand the consciousness itself is independent of the body, then you are free. Therefore, the 64th passage that Adhyasa, Purvapakshi asked, Adhyasa is not relevant to Sutra Bhashya. For the Brahma Sutras, Adhyasa is not relevant to the context. We discussed, I think, in more than one class, how Adhyasa alone is the problem, is the cause of bondage. Adhyasa means avidya, a misunderstanding, a misconception, and Jnanam alone liberates it. So 64th we have finished. And the 65th point, Atmaikatva Vidya Pratipattaye Shanka. Atmaikatva Vidya Pratipattaye, Bhashyakara told, this Vedanta is, Brahma Sutra is going to begin to give you knowledge of unity of Atman, non-duality of Atman. Regarding the Atma is non-dual, this is the stand of Advaitins. Now there are some people who object to it. Both Advaitins, among the non-Advaitins, both Dvaitins as well as the Vishishta Advaitins. Now we will see how they explain how non-duality is not possible. Okay. And we will see their arguments and how Acharya refutes them. We will discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Okay.